As part of Children in Danger Week now, World in Action looks at the alarming rise in children caring for ill or infirmed adults.
This boy is 10 years old. 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, he helps his mother out of bed, and at night he helps her back in again.
It's like having just a slave. That is all he is. He's not a boy anymore, he's a slave.
Tonight, World in Action investigates the hidden world of the young carers, a world of loneliness and frustration in which there's little room for childhood. They're supposed to be the happiest days of our lives, but for some children, school days are a time of stress, worry, and even hard labour. Wayne Shorey has to help his mother in and out of bed every day of the week. Laura Drake has to struggle every night to get her mother into a wheelchair. And Darren Corliss can't leave his mother on her own for long periods. He's frightened in case she injures herself. They're just 3 out of the tens of thousands of young people in this country who provide care for relatives. Unrewarded, unrecognised, and often invisible to the outside world, they're the young people who are being asked to do too much.
My name is Wayne Shorey. I'm 10 years old and I look after my mum because she suffers from arthritis.
It's just before 7 in the morning and the daily ritual is about to begin for a young family in Stevenage. They're a family who expose the limitations of the social services safety net.
Wayne? Wayne?
Elaine Shaw is a single parent and she's disabled by arthritis. So today, like every day, it'll be her 10-year-old son, Wayne, who gets the family out of bed.
Up you go. Down you come.
Wayne's brother, Sean, is 4 years old. He can't get showered or dressed by himself, and he struggles too much for Elaine to cope. So it's Wayne who steps in.
There you go. Brush it through your head quickly. Shush. Just need to get your hair washed. The amount of work I have to do is only about 3 times more than the normal average person. But I'm all right with it. I don't mind, really. If you've been doing it for as long as I have, you just get used to it. It's part of life.
Wayne, can I have some help, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Elaine's arthritis has been brought on by the skin disease psoriasis. She can't bend her knees or flex her ankles and elbows. In the mornings, she's so stiff she can't get out of bed without Wayne's help.
Stay there, don't go anywhere, please. Don't pull on that left, right arm. You'll help you doing that. That's it, I'm up, I think. Oh.
Elaine has had both knees replaced, but even these artificial joints have seized up.
I'm dependent on Wayne from the moment he gets up in the morning until he goes into bed at night. The majority of the jobs means bending down, lifting and carrying. I cannot do that. It's too restricting for my limbs. It's too painful. So Wayne has to do them. They're his jobs.
There's only about 1 in a dozen I don't really like. But I'm always all right with things that I do. There's many things that I don't want to do, but I still do it.
The Department of Health accepts that there are around 40,000 children under 18 who provide care for relatives. But recent research suggests the true figure may be substantially higher. The government's care in the community policy has meant an increasing number of children like Wayne have become young carers. Researchers at Loughborough University have undertaken the first ever national study of young carers for Community Care magazine. The results are revealed for the first time tonight by World in Action. Their study suggests that over a quarter of young carers are very young, between 5 and 10 years old. 60% of young carers are in single-parent families, and 11% of children are caring for more than one person.
If we have this policy to help people live in the community, then young carers need help. But importantly, we must recognise that this is a task which, so far as we know, young carers want to take on, but it's a task where they have to be given choice too. It just can't be, we can't simply accept, oh, they take it on, therefore let's move on to the next problem.
From the top down, it's got a small tail, so that you can join it onto other letters.
Wayne has just started his final year at Longmeadow Junior School in Stevenage. He works hard, but sometimes finds it difficult to concentrate. He's often tired and sometimes gets frustrated.
Every day of your life, you've got to think about, oh, is my mum all right? It's when you're in school doing your run down your sums. You think she's all right, and is Sean all right? Has he got home from school all right? You do care about them. You do keep on thinking about them.
Go up for your F and down.
Got to do a bit of sweet talking on him.
Twice a week, Elaine Shorey gets 3 hours of help from a care group organised through Hertfordshire Social Services. Today, most of that time is taken up by one of Elaine's regular trips to the hospital. When Social Services assessed her 2 years ago, they offered half an hour a day of home care as an alternative, and they set about modifying her house. Elaine says that's not enough to take the weight off Wayne.
His assembly was really good. I feel that the system has let him down somewhat. He's not having the help that we really need now in the mornings. I have help, but it's after the time he's gone to school. Have a hand with my left foot, please. Yeah. I'm afraid I'm doing your car in. I would prefer it that it was someone else helping me and not my own son.
I'm in.
Yep. Because I feel that I'm getting him up at 7:15 just to be a slave, and that's basically what he is.
Hertfordshire County Council is very aware of the problems of carers. It's doing its very best to use the resources that it has available to offer services to those most in need.
We talked to the mother. She said, "My son's like a slave. He's unrecognised, he's invisible." And this is after an assessment has happened.
What you're describing is very much the issue that we're trying to cope with. We're trying to make the resources that we've got match the enormous levels of need that we're facing. Clearly there's a gap. Clearly we're doing our best to close that gap, but that gap exists. I can't deny that.
After making supper, Wayne has to get ready for bed. But first, he has his mother to think
Wayne,
about.
Off to bed. You help me off with my trousers, please?
Yeah?
Okay, thanks. I'll just put that down. Just leave it there. All right.
Be calm.
I'm coming. I'm coming. At my speed, not yours.
Jeez.
Okay then.
Down.
Here comes the problem of this. That's it. Thanks very much.
There you go.
Don't try and get it over my feet before I've sat down. Thank you. Can I have the blanket, please?
And that's it. At least that's it for today.
He has no freedom to go and do as he wants, the playtime he wants. Good night. My fear that he won't stop being a carer. He won't lose being a carer. That's all he's known all his life. He won't learn to be himself. He'll always be there to help someone. And he's not going to be an individual.
I can't honestly say I'm the unluckiest, and I can't say I'm the luckiest. Because I know quite a few people who get it easy, they just can lay in luxury. And I think, this is paradise. Well, to me, just having the normal life of a normal child would be paradise.
My name is Darren. I'm age 16 and I look after my mum because she suffers from schizophrenia.
For Nora Corliss, writing out a shopping list is a struggle. She's a schizophrenic and also suffers from agoraphobia. Going to the corner shop is a major expedition. Nora and her husband are separated. He does call round to help out, but mostly she relies on her 16-year-old son, Darren, even for routine jobs like a trip to the shop. They both want Nora to stay out of hospital, but there's a price to pay for keeping her at home. During the day, there's help from social services, but if she's depressed at night, it's down to Darren.
He helps to keep me alive by being there with me and someone to talk to. I know I can't do any harm to myself while he's around.
If he stays up with her into the night, he's too tired for school the next day.
When she's not well, she can't stand up, she can't wash the dishes or cook the tea, make coffee or do any of that, wash the clothes, anything like that. So if it wasn't there, like, it would probably not get done.
I get the voices, but I see the people as well as get the voices.
And what do they say to you?
Well, they want me to join them, they're dead, and they want me to join them because they reckon that I'd be happy to be dead. And sometimes when I feel low, well, I feel like joining them.
My mum has like mood swings when she's not well, and when I was younger I didn't know what was going to happen. These things just happened, she'd change all of a sudden. But now I can judge when she's going to change and like know when she's going to be low or happy.
I don't tend to harm myself when people are around, but when I'm on my own, I just get a knife or a razor blade and just start slashing at my arms and my stomach and my legs.
Darren Corliss is not a shy boy, but looking after his mother has made him increasingly introverted. He spends some of his spare time drawing cartoons of his daily existence. They help him get life in perspective.
Leaves you on your own, no one's around you, you can just do it and get away from any like problems. If you had a bad day in school, you just come in, draw what's happened the way I see it.
It's Monday morning. Darren and his friends are off to school. This in itself is a major step forward.
Mum, I'm going. See you later.
School has been a battle for Darren. Caring for his mother is stressful, and he's often got little energy left. Last summer, he left school without any qualifications. Now, after help from a local young carers group, he's been persuaded to go back. But his last 2 years have been a failure.
Because of lack of sleep, Darren would very often arrive at school late and would find himself in a conflict situation straight away. As soon as he walked through the door, a teacher may confront him and ask him why he's been late. Darren couldn't say, because I've been staying up looking after my mum all night, because of the stigmas attached to that. So Darren would hide it and would make some excuse up which wouldn't really wear with the school. And therefore, straight away, Darren again is being sort of labelled as a disruptive pupil or a disaffected pupil.
As you're getting behind, then when you're trying to catch up, you're getting even further behind. And you're just thinking, as well as thinking about my mum, and it just gets worse and worse, and it's the way it just gets easier not to do it.
The Community Care Survey illustrates the alarming effect caring can have on children's education. Over a quarter of young carers are regularly missing school. Over a third are having educational difficulties. This is one of the few school activities where Darren feels entirely comfortable. One afternoon a week he plays for Norton Priory School team. But while the match goes on, Nora is becoming disturbed back at home.
Back!
Describe to me how you feel today, Nora.
Low and suicidal. Feel like doing something to myself.
You feel like harming yourself?
Mm.
What stops you from doing that?
Darren being here.
It's just that, is it? If Darren weren't here?
I'd do it.
Darren knows he has to keep a constant watch on his mother. Today he heads home straight after the match. And he's going to have to stay with Nora to make sure she doesn't harm herself. There will be no chance of going back to school for several hours.
It's important for me to sit with her because she gets lonely and she just needs someone to be with her. She worries about things, so like if I'm with her, she knows she's all right.
It's been an exhausting day. Nora finally falls asleep on the sofa well after midnight. Only then can Darren go to bed.
It's wrong that he should have to look after me. It should be me looking after him, because I'm his mother.
I'd rather me do it, even though I don't get to do some things everyone else does. But it doesn't bother me, because I'd rather do it than like leave someone else to do it.
My name is Laura Drake. I'm 14 and look after my mum who has multiple sclerosis.
It's Friday afternoon and the children at Balcarra School in Cheltenham are heading for home. But for Laura Drake, it's not just the end of a busy week, it's the start of an even busier weekend looking after her mother.
I miss out on going out with my friends quite a lot. If you're trying to make new friends at school, then it's quite difficult because they don't understand what happens at home. Sometimes I'll get home and I'll find her either by the bed or stuck in the hall. She can be anywhere.
There's some help from social services on weekdays, but since Karen and her husband separated 6 months ago, Laura's the only person looking after her mother from Friday evening until Monday morning. The first job for Laura is the weekly visit to the supermarket. She has to use her mother's electric wheelchair to carry the heavy bags. But this job, like all the others she has to do, is all the more difficult because Laura herself has a disability.
I've only got a thumb and a little finger on my hand. Some packets can be difficult to pick up, things like washing powder and things like that. When I get home, my hand can be fairly sore and I can feel it throbbing. But I just generally either have to take a painkiller or something for it and I have to just put up with it.
After the immediate domestic problems have been sorted out, there's homework to do. If anything, her caring role has made her more diligent about her studies. But in part, schoolwork is a refuge. 10 o'clock is the most difficult time of the evening. Karen has to be helped to bed. Even on weekdays, there's no help at bedtime. So every night of the week, this is a job that Laura has to do.
I do tend to wobble and go into spasm and I can't stay still. Right. Gosh, here we go. Standing upright is difficult. My back tends to give way and I do tend to move and fall over very easy. Let's come in, Trudy. Right. Right. No. Right. Really, a 14-year-old shouldn't have to pick me up, shouldn't have to dress me. It's a loss of dignity for me, let alone for her to have to do it. Oops. She shouldn't have to think about what I'm doing and how I'm coping. She should be going out and enjoying life to the full. Got him? Yeah. Right. There we go. Your foot's come off.
Karen's husband tried to come to terms with her illness, but in the end he couldn't cope. In April, Karen and Jack Drake separated.
Your feet's crossed, Nora.
I knew from the day I walked out of the consultant's room at the hospital when she was first diagnosed that I am not the sort of person that could cope with that, you know, in that situation. I gave it 5, 6 years of trying, And eventually it just wore me down to the stage where something had to break. And that's what happened.
But you left behind a wife who had a disability and a daughter to look after her who herself had a disability. Surely that should have come before your own thoughts about how you felt.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, I'm human. I've got failings like everybody else, and I just couldn't cope with it.
Jack Drake is not an exception. Children are more likely to become carers in families where their mother falls ill rather than the father. The Community Care Survey reveals an alarming lack of social service support for young carers and their families. Only 14% get a home help, while an astonishing 1 in 5 households with a young carer get no outside assistance of any kind.
We are relying on families to provide care and children to provide care at no cost. And in fact, there is lots of evidence to indicate that this saves the government billions of pounds every year on what would have been spent on social and health services. So I think there is an argument to say, yes, that this is care on the cheap.
Saturday morning, and it's time for the housework. Again, it's a job for Laura. Karen used to be able to rely on the council to do this. But 9 months ago, social services withdrew help with housework throughout Gloucestershire because of a cash crisis.
They're not allowed to do any housework at all. I don't know how they think I'm supposed to push a hoover around. Dusting, hoovering, washing the kitchen floor, bathroom floor. It all falls on Laura again, I'm afraid.
All our spending's under very great pressure and the councils are not in a position to do anything about it. We need new money. We can't take it off any existing services that the council's providing, either within social services or beyond it.
The Association of Metropolitan Authorities say that care in the community has meant an extra 200,000 cases nationally for social services. They say that that's led to a budget shortfall of £253 million. Since most of their money comes from Westminster, they say the real blame lies with the government.
It's for society to make a decision about this one, actually. Society has got to decide how much it is prepared, by way of resources, to put in for these children.
And the cash problem is likely to get worse. Next April, the Carers Act will be introduced, and all carers will be able to request the local authority to carry out an assessment of his ability to provide care. But there's no extra government money to do those assessments, let alone for any new services that may be required. We wanted to talk to the Department of Health about young carers and the funding of care in the community. John Bowis, the minister responsible, declined our offer to record an interview. On Saturday afternoons, Karen and Laura get time off to potter around the shops. But even this is a bit of a struggle. They're close friends, but that very friendship is becoming a symbol of how claustrophobic Laura's life can be.
I feel lucky in some ways that I really can help, and lucky in others that I haven't really had a normal time, a normal childhood, and done all the things that I might have wanted to do.
I don't think that young carers, from what we know and what we've heard from, I don't think at all that this is a task they want to be rid of. I mean, they feel a responsibility toward their parents. They're in a loving relationship with them. What they do want is help to carry out that task.
If you want to do something about young carers, if you want to take their needs seriously, then you have to start to think about how you can best meet those needs. You have to start to plan to meet those needs, and you have to start to allocate resources to meeting those needs. We shouldn't, however, let the absence of money or the lack of money become an excuse for inertia and doing nothing about young carers.
Tonight, back in Stevenage, Wayne Shorey will still be helping his mother to bed.
I've still got basically 6 years of this still to go. I've got to live the first part of my life as a carer and probably half of my life as a carer. But I doubt it'll change as I get older. I just take the day as it comes.
An information pack covering children's issues, including young carers, is available free. For your copy, phone local 0345 557755, supported by BT, or write to Children in Danger, Box 96, Birmingham, B1 2JL, or see text page 655 where available for more details.